Hakim is very respected by me, person that talking about many problems of capitalism and how communism can solve them. And this overpopulation is a capitalist lie video is of course absolutely correct from the point of view of the communist. But there's also, and there's a problem because Hakim describing this problem only from the one point of view, from the capitalist and communist point of view. It means that communists see the capitalist point of view. Yes, many people in developed countries is cheering for overpopulation as those barbaric nations that can't develop and can't sustain itself, they should be killed off. And this is due to bad distribution in capitalism, of course. But there is another aspect for this problem. We do produce enough food to feed everyone on this planet, even if population will grow up to 10 billion people. But also this cause erosion of the soil. These cause many chemical problems with production of nutrition, I don't know, fertilizers, with production of fertilizers that absolutely must have in modern agricultural production. So we drain our soils to produce food for 10 billion people. Including we drain the soils in the underdeveloped countries and not developed countries at all. And that's just one aspect of this problem, of course, from this point of view. And yes, by the way, this suggested video here is why the world population won't exceed 11 billion people. Because there is plateaued, because there is many different statistician models that say that we could not exceed more than 10 billion people on the planet if we live in the world today. So there is just one point of view on this problem with overpopulation, that of course caused by capitalism, but also there is another side of that problem of 10 billion people. First of all, even today, like 50% of the population having bullshit jobs. Either they work in the same agricultural sphere, but they doing pretty much the same repetitive jobs. It means they repeat, it means that more labor of people used than mechanical. And if we develop those countries and less people will be doing the agricultural job, it means that like 70% of population of those third world countries will simply be left out of job. It means that you don't take into account that we can employ all the population, all the world population on the real jobs. It means that all those people will have to do some intellectual jobs. Not all people are capable for intellectual jobs, even with education. Believe me, I know. Next thing, of course, the next point of view, not only we couldn't make those people work at intellectual jobs, but many of those people will turn into some kind of religions, intelligence movement, not intelligent movement, intelligentsia, I don't know this word in English, when you know the writers, artists, singers, people of the show business today. They always have, and we would have to make those people make such activities. And these people always have tendency to create capitalism, to exploit and get more money for themselves. It's the second angle of the problem, that we can't employ people, and if we employ them at particular jobs, they probably would have become the new basis for bourgeoisie in the communist society. The third angle of problem that 10 billion people will drain resources that we have right now. Energy, first of all, energy, of course, rare materials, etc. That would not allow us in the future, in the nearest future, 400 years from now maybe, will not allow us to mechanize the production, to electricize the production. We still don't have valuable normal sources for energy that we can produce. Let's put it this way. To have such mechanization of today's agricultural production in the Western countries, we need huge amounts of oil. Of course, we can produce some of it from the same agriculture, because we have biofuels right now. Some of it can be electricized, and this electricity may come not from sun and wind, of course, because it's ridiculous, it's ineffective, but from the nuclear plant. Again, here we come to another problem. Who gonna work at so many uranium mines? Who? Even this resource with more people, this resource also will drain in the future years, in future hundreds of years, in future centuries, in future centuries. This resource also will drain if we have 10 billion people in opposition to 1 billion people, for example. Of course, the coal will end somewhere in the half of millennia, somewhere around 400-500 years from now. Coal will end, oil will end, rare materials that would be simply all drained up from the soil. 1,000 years from now, we out of coal, oil, maybe, I don't know, uranium, maybe out of rare materials. Of course, the iron would not go away anywhere. We can simply remade it, once again, recycle. But also this requires that we cut many trees. In capitalism, of course, it's very barbaric. In communism, of course, it's very thoughtful, cutting the trees, right? Forestry is very thoughtful, and we will reproduce the forests. But with more population, we need more wood. With less population, we need less wood. And new forests need how many? 20, 30 years to grow up, to develop, etc. So you can see the problem. It's not that our overpopulation, because like in capitalist countries, in capitalist rhetorics, of course, they all barbaric, they all bad, they can develop, etc. Yes, it's racism and capitalism, etc., etc. But also there is another point for this problem. We will drain our resources very fast, like literally in generations, in few generations. Some resources will be drained. Lithium for batteries, it's not the resource that we can reuse for our smartphones, for example. there's a bunch of materials that we will simply drain from our planet. So you must understand that outside of communist and capitalist points of view, there is logical point of view that more people will drain more resources and faster than less people. It's not that we need to kill off the third world population, no. Vice versa, we need to kill off the first world, developed world population, countries like Japan, USA, Europe, China, India, etc. The people who are really overpopulated. And we never be able, and we will never be able to employ all the people. This system of, let's employ the more people for the same job that now done just by one person. For example, you work only 1 hour, but get paid the same amount as you work in 8 hours. And the other 7 hours took by other 7 persons. This is ridiculous. In some areas, of course, not a problem. We can do that. In some areas. In most of the areas, that's ridiculous. That's simply ridiculous. We can't do that. Because quality of the one person do not replace the quality of the other person who may be a master of his professional in his area, and other will simply take a place. That's all. And this difference will cause on the production, etc. This is simply ridiculous. We can't employ people. We will drain our resources. With more people, faster. With less people, less faster. This could provide us, the humanity, the human race, more people. And as we approach to the new ice age, either it's small ice age or full-blown ice age, I don't know, I'm not a specialist, we approach it. Every 10,000 years, like we live in the period of of the warming, planet constantly cooling down. It means that in the near future we will need more resources to heat in our houses, and the snow line ice line, I don't know how it's called in English, snow line will go lower and lower from the Russia today, right? It will go to China and lower to tropics. And of course from the other side it will come to Australia, for example, etc. So we will need more coal, oil, sun, wind to heat our houses, and the living area of the planet will simply shrink to the same undeveloped countries who today are undeveloped. It means that equatorial countries like North African in general, some of China, some of India, Central America, etc. And if you only, yes, true, overpopulation as capitalists presented, it's a myth. Overpopulation from the logical standpoint, it's not a myth. It's real problem. Of course, solution that capitalists providing for this problem is not in any shape or form is acceptable. Absolutely. But to ignore that there is more to this problem than just simply those barbaric, undeveloped, uneducated people just don't know how to use technologies, that's just simply shallow point of view.